Our next speaker is Mr. N.C. Narayanan. He is founder and chief managing director, SSA Business Solutions. He has more than 42 years of industrial experience and has held senior management positions at Crompton Greaves as GM Technical and Lucas TVS. He is a master black belt and has authored 2 books. He has chaired events such as IQPC BPE Summit at Cape Town. He has been recognized with Global Achievers Award by Economic Development Forum of India and Rashtriya Udyog Ratna Award. I have great pleasure in presenting you Mr. N.C. Narayanan. Please.
Good afternoon to you. May not be a good idea to choose the last session in the forenoon and the first session in the post-lunch. The topic that I have chosen to talk today is on the design and development of a world-class products and service. Having spent about a quarter century as a designer myself and practicing Six Sigma enthusiast last 15 years, I'm just trying to give you a 30,000 feet perspective of what my views about the current situation. To start with, if you really look at the business is ultimately is existing for making money. There are 3 facets of the business. One is the top management and the senior management looking at the visioning and strategizing as one corner of the triangle. And then many organizations have chosen to create a business excellence as a function in the organization. And then there are people who are chasing the numbers in the organization. If you look at the language that the management speaks is the money. The business excellence people talk about the quality tools, and the shop floor people understand things. So as Juran says that you need to be multilingual in case if you have to communicate with each other. So this is one of the issues that we are facing and discussing since this morning. And ultimately the chief financial officer is asking, where is the money? So having said that, if you look at the overall perspective of an organization, you have 3 basic functions, I would say. The people who are busy in converting the raw material into finished goods, and the people who are trying to understand the market needs and create new products. And then there are support functions are there. If I can put all the functions into different boxes, I will end up with these 3 areas. And if you like, probably the Brahma's role is played by the development people, and who are supposed to take care of the perpetuity of the organization. And the sustenance role is Lord Vishnu's role, which is supposed to maintain the organization. And of course, the Mahesh is sitting outside to see that how he can destroy the organization. Yeah? So these are the 3 basic rules. And then let's look at how the business excellence has been looked at. One of the most neglected area is the perpetuity of the organization. I will also like to share with you what really created this situation and what could be a solution. As Bill was mentioning, for some historical reasons, the operational excellence has become the most important area, because in a protected economy, transferring into a global economy, and there is a big cost-saving opportunity exists in the operational excellence. And we have been deliberating since morning that how we are going to enroll the senior level management, and the first presentation was how to link the strategy with the operational excellence and so on. But there's one major area which is totally ignored or neglected is the product development part. That's the reason that this session has been visualized part of this presentation. If you look at for some historical reason, the paradigm is that variation reduction, eliminating the defect where Six Sigma came from, is one of the facets of the continuous improvement. And although the Lean is the elder brother for Six Sigma, started much earlier than Six Sigma, but for variety of reasons Lean was not having that much of prominence for quite a while. And it is gaining a lot of momentum now that the waste elimination is most important aspect. So you have to create the velocity for the organization. Unfortunately, we ended there. The business excellence is nothing but variation reduction and value stream, value creation. That we have not looked into the most important area. I was just trying to trace back the last 100 years. And if you look at the quality philosophy, there are 7 levels I thought the quality philosophy has evolved. The level 1 is inspecting the product is better than selling defective products. So that's where the quality control started. Level 2 is inspecting the process is better than inspecting the product. So it seems to be a little more matured. Controlling the process is better than inspecting the process. That means not merely inspecting the process is not good enough. Later on, people felt understanding the process is better than controlling it. The PDCA came into existence. In the level 5, reducing the variation is better than understanding the process. Six Sigma came from. And level 6 is improving the design of the product is better than improving the process capability. If the process is made fully capable, even then it can't deliver what the customer expectations are. Probably the highest level of maturity in the quality philosophy, understanding the employee needs of the customer and designing the product is better than modifying it. That is where the DFSS is coming from. But if you look at all our focus areas in the last 2 decades, brought us up to the level 5. Yeah. But what we need to move is to the level 7. Yeah. So the world-class products and services, my way of interpreting it is, covers the design excellence to start with. The majority of the problems in the shop floor are created by the designers. Second aspect is the SCM excellence, which is again an area where we have not focused so far as vigorously as we should. And then the operational excellence, which has drawn the major attention all these years. And we are also ignoring one area, which is the service excellence. Most of the companies producing excellent products are not able to provide the best after-sales service. So, unless otherwise we are going to focus on all these 4 major areas, we can't really create a world-class products and service. If you really look at the various generation in which the continuous improvement was happening, in 80s we spoke about Six Sigma. In generation 2 we spoke about Lean. Generation 3 we got them married and brought the Lean Six Sigma. And what's next? So the generation 4 is the design excellence, according to my visualization. So when you say design excellence, what do you really mean? Is the first time write new products, velocity of the new product. I didn't say speed of the new product because we may produce many new products, but they fail to meet the expectations of the customer. And then ultimately value for money of the new products. So essentially design excellence can be reduced to these 3 attributes. Now if you really look at the kind of phases in which India has been going through, starting from the British Raj, then we moved on to the license Raj, and then now we are into the globalization Raj, if you may like to call it. So these transitions have put a different kind of a mindset, which I would like to draw your attention to. In 80s, till 80s probably we have seen motor cars which are maybe 7 or 8 decades old. In 90s we have seen Maruti brought a big transformation in the automobile technology in the country. Change in the automobile technology has brought a significant change in the various other manufacturing capabilities of the country as well. 2000 onwards we are seeing something which is much more complicated and demanding high level of expectation, like BMWs and Mercedes and so on. Where does this lead to? If you really look at the scenario, since we have been in the protected economy for a pretty long time, the dependency on collaborators design has been the order of the day, and the designer's capability has been a big question mark. And then the verification and validation methods of improving the quality of the new product has been very limited. And understanding the requirements of the customer and bringing products which has got implied needs has been a big challenge. So that is the scenario of the new product introduction process as such. I just took some data to analyze. This is quite an interesting analysis. If you see the x-axis which is showing the various kind of products, starting from consumer products to aircraft on the right extreme. So as you move from the left to right, you will find the products are becoming more and more complicated. When I say complication, it is in terms of the number of components. For example, a consumer plastic may be 2 components, but an aircraft has got about 500,000 components. So as you are moving towards the right, the complexity of the product increases. As you could see, the consumer electronic 2-wheelers and 4-wheelers. But if you look at the sigma value or the perfection in the product in terms of defect-free manufacture, has been significantly increasing as the complexity increases. It doesn't mean if the product is simple, you will be able to produce them at Six Sigma level. So what's most important here is the process that is being adopted in design and development of these complex products are entirely different from the low-end products. So this requires a kind of an attention. So in a protected economy, we have been having a product out approach. Essentially, I can develop any product and put in the market, and the customer has got very limited opportunities. You will find there is a less than 35% success rate in the new product development when the product out approach is adopted. Now we have moved into a buyer's market now. We require a different kind of approach at this point in time. We need to switch over to a market in approach. To a very large extent, this transformation has been happening in the last 15 years, but it's far from satisfactory. As James Juran says, that the design creates the most of the errors. So they are like the eggs laid by the crocodile, and they manifest in the manufacturing process, and they also manifest as a reliability issues at the end of the product usage. So it's extremely important for us to look at that the design excellence is a most important area we need to look at. Will has already covered that the traditional product development process is incapable of detecting all the design modifications. And when the product is launched, then we come to know a lot of problems from the field. And in India, due to the product life cycle is coming down, there's a significant reduction in the time required to product development. So that's going to create more pressure on the development process. So unless otherwise we are going to go in for a much better way of developing new products, we are going to have serious problems going forward. Just to mention that the Six Sigma efforts are mostly on the defect reduction by bringing the variation to the controllable limits. But what's most interesting is that, as Michael Harry from his research says, that you can go up to 5.1 sigma level without changing the product design. If you really want to reach Six Sigma, you need to look at the product design in a greater detail. So it is more and more important for us to give in the product excellence in this point of view. Another aspect in terms of the cost, as you could see, 70% of the cost is decided by the designers, the cost influence part. The supply chain people can only contribute up to the 20% cost influence. And the people in the shop floor can only contribute to 5%. And the people who are in the distribution can contribute only up to 5%. So vast majority of the cost influence is decided by the designers. So unless otherwise we are going to focus on these areas, we will never be able to produce cost-effective products. So what is the new paradigm that I am recommending? That the philosophy, which is the attitudinal part, is to give wow experience to the consumer in terms of the new products. And the methodology is what I am proposing is the NPI Lean. That means look at the new product development process, as Bill also mentioned in his lecture, that we need to look at product development process in the Lean perspective. And there are innumerable number of tools and techniques are already available in the DFSS which can be applied for developing the new product. Essentially, when you say change in the organization, it involves structural change, the system change and the cultural change. And it's extremely difficult to change the culture, but if you change the structure and system, automatically the culture is being influenced. So one of the most important area probably we need to focus is how we can improvise our new product development process. So I'm not going to dwell much on this model of IDOV, which is one of the popular model that is being adopted for new product introduction that may be probably applied. And all the definition of waste which is in the manufacturing lean are equally applicable. The Tim Wood, what we talk about in the lean. Only thing the difference is the interpretation of these waste in the new product development process are slightly different from the manufacturing process. So ultimately we need to get into something which is more effective in terms of identifying the latent needs of the customer, design the products accordingly, optimize them with cost-effective design, and use the myriad number of tools which are available for product design and development. So in essence, we need to look at the design optimization tools like design for manufacture and assembly. There are many of them are available, but they are not put into use. So to conclude my part of my lecture, as Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different result is insanity. Somebody has said this is stupidity. And we are more tool focused at the moment, which we have been discussing since this morning. Puruhashi, in one of the recent lecture, he said that in India we are becoming toolholics. Like alcoholics, we are becoming toolholics. That's the message I want to carry forward. And then ultimately, as Steve said, the deciding what to do is as important as deciding what not to do. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted to share with you this afternoon.